Hi, I'm Amy Davis from Future Publishing's photography portfolio. I'm going to take a look at the Sony RX10 today. In essence, the RX10 is a bridge camera, but it's not like any other ordinary bridge camera. Inside the camera is the same larger than average 1-inch sensor as found in the excellent RX100 II, Sony's best-selling premium compact camera. Other bridge cameras generally feature a much smaller sensor. As you can see, the RX10 is pretty big for a camera like this, being fairly similar in size to an entry-level DSLR. The lens here might look like it can be removed, but it is a fixed 8x zoom. Although that's not a huge zoom range, it does offer an f2.8 constant throughout the range. The camera is fairly weighty while its construction and finish lends it an air of high quality. You can use this ring around the lens to zoom in and out, or, if you prefer, you can use this switch around the shutter release button, just like a standard compact camera. On the top of the camera here is a fairly simple mode dial. It contains the standard P, A, S and M exposure modes, as well as fully automatic, scene, panoramic and movie modes. There's also 2 handy slots here, storing a group of custom settings, which is useful if you often find yourself shooting a given type of scene. At the opposite end of the top plate is an exposure compensation dial. This is quite easily reached by the thumb for making quick changes. There's another dial here on the back of the camera, which is used for altering shutter speed when in manual or shutter priority mode. To change the aperture, you need to use this dial around the lens, a nice touch which traditionalists may enjoy. The rest of the buttons on the back of the camera are pretty well laid out, and you can access them all with just your right hand. The only button which is slightly more awkward is the main menu button, here, but it's likely you won't need to use that all too often. Instead, for your most commonly used settings, you can simply press this function button here to bring up a quick menu. By default, there are a number of functions already assigned to it, but you can customise this menu to your preferred way of working through the menu system. Sony is big on customization, so you can also change the function of several of the other buttons, including the directional keys around this scrolling dial. Changing the autofocus point can be a little slow. We found the quickest way to do it is to set one of these directional keys here to alter focus area. So, you press this button, hit the central button, and then use the keys to move the point to where you want it to sit. It's not the quickest method and can quickly get frustrating if you're trying to change the point often. It might be easier, therefore, to set the point to the middle and focus and recompose if you're in a rush. There's a tilting screen on the back here which doesn't suffer too badly from glare or reflections. It's useful for shooting from awkward angles, but unfortunately it's not touch sensitive, which would have helped with setting the autofocus point. There's also an electronic viewfinder, which is activated simply by lifting your eye to the finder thanks to this automatic sensor here. It's a nice seamless transition, while the finder itself is much better than the majority of bridge camera viewfinders, providing a nice, clear and bright view. Like several other recent Sony cameras, the RX10 has built-in Wi-Fi and NFC. This means that you can control the camera from a smartphone or tablet, as well as sending images to other devices. If you have an NFC-compatible device, all you need to do is simply tap the two together to form an instant connection. If, however, you're using something like an iPhone, you'll need to use the Wi-Fi connection, which is a little slower to set up, but works well once the connection is established. We were pretty confident that the RX10 would be capable of producing excellent pictures, since we already know it's sensed to be a good performer. Happily, we haven't been disappointed by its output. Images are bright, punchy and packed with detail. To read my full review of the Sony RX10 and to see sample images, visit techradar.com.